And so on another one of these podcasts, we have Juelz Santana, who decided to say that, kids need financial literacy. And he was just like, especially if you're going into the music industry, all the things, and, how you really need, that financial literacy backing and, the foundation of it all. And, it's like, okay, let them cook. But then this motherfucker said this.
Is though just financial wealth and literacy and all that shit early because by the time they get to ninth grade they should be just learning how to start businesses
These kids can't read
and how to
well.
how to but they don't really need to learn how know how to read.
Wait, stop. Wait,
survive.
stop.
But I ain't gonna say that. But I say that. I say that respectfully. I'm not saying that in a way to be literate because you're not supposed to be.
Yeah, that's what he said. You don't need to really know how to read. Literacy means you really need to know how to read. And you're talking about starting businesses like these kids. Oh, absolutely. Now, part of what he said was good. Yes. Ninth grade or whatever, coming from being out in those hallways and dealing with students in that, that age bracket. Yes, a lot of them wanted to do that, but they did not have the pathways to really understand, what to do, how to do it, and not to make the mistakes that, many people make. However, all in the same token, you're telling them, that they don't really need to know how to read. How are you going to facilitate contracts? How are you going to understand, accounts receivables? All of these things, if you cannot read the different entry lines of your, accounting, that's how your accountants be running off with your money because you can't read and ultimately you can't comprehend. And this herein lies the issue because it's like, bro, what happened? Now I do know that a whole lot of other stuff happened, but it was the whole glossed over look that he had while he was sitting there, and I was like, but the fact that that man really had to bring up, he was like, look, the kids can't read. It is an epidemic right now. You have kids that are in the ninth grade that are reading on a fifth and sixth grade level. And here you are telling someone that they need to have financial literacy without the literacy. Because again, suppose they put that the numbers in written format. How they supposed to read them, Juelz? How they gonna read them? Hmm? How they supposed to understand what's happening? The whole part of literacy is also the comprehension portion of it. That means understanding and being able to apply what you have read. I.e., you're sitting in these business meetings and you're understanding what the board is telling you. You're understanding what the accountants are telling you. You're understanding what the chief financial officers are telling you. But you don't understand any of this shit because you can't fucking read. Or you can't even read well. Baseline reading is not enough. And that's where a lot of these kids are falling fucking short. And when I tell you the shit is alarming because when you cannot read, it's very hard for you to do math in the instance of, beyond baseline. Yeah, you might be able to add a little bit, you might be able to subtract a little bit, but if any of that shit gets too complex, that's where you see a lot of kids kind of flip out because they're not really understanding what's happening because they don't understand. And it's like, it goes over their head and now they're frustrated because again, they're in uncharted territory for them. This is why we tell y'all don't listen to these rappers. this if there was ever an example, this would be one. And then he got kids. Baby, don't help them little babies with them homework. Don't. Where's Cambella? Um, Cause he's talking about, and I mean, he said that shit with his whole chest, and then bro beside him co-signed, and it was just like, oh, okay. Because other dude in the other seat was just like, the fuck is this? He was like, hold on, wait. America's not a real place, as y'all always hear me say, and really understanding, y'all. Mm-mm. Please read with your babies. Please get your teenagers to read 2 paragraphs to you. And if they stumble through that shit, baby, you failed. If you struggle with reading, there is help. We have got to do better, y'all. We got to do better because literacy is so important. Book It is still out here. I just want to go ahead and put that on record. With the little personal pizzas, Book It is still out here. Barnes and Nobles does a summer reading program. Free book. Like,
Like and subscribe to Mom's channel.